everyone, welcome to day 1 of our data science workshop. I want you all to forget everything you think about what you know about coding being difficult or data science being something only toppers can do. Because today we are starting from absolute zero, and by the end of this session, you will write your first working code as well. So, this is our journey. Data science using Python from zero to our first code. And trust me, this is not just a workshop. This is a transformation from someone who is confused to someone who can build actual things. Now, let's be honest for a moment. Most engineering students, especially from mechanical, civil, electrical, face a few common problems. There is a lack of exposure to real tech trends. Coding feels confusing. Data science looks too advanced. And most importantly, there is no real project experience as well. And because of this, students start doubting themselves. But look at the right side of this slide. This is what we are going to achieve. You will be building a standalone data science project, understand how machine learning actually works, deploy an interactive dashboard, and most importantly, boost your resume with something real as well. This workshop is for you if you are from mechanical, civil, electrical, or even if you have never written a single line of code before. At the core, this is not just about coding, it is about building some logic, and that is something every engineer has already within themselves. Now, let's break some myths as well. Data science is only for toppers. Wrong. You need a heavy mathematical understanding. Not at the beginning, but yeah, in long run, you will have to need mathematics. And the third one is that coding is extremely hard. This is also wrong. Now, the reality is anyone can learn this about data science or coding step by step. Libraries handle most of the complex mathematical part, and Python is so simple it almost reads like English. Now, understanding this is the very important concept. Data science works in 3 steps. First, you need to understand patterns from data. Second, you make decisions. And the third, you predict what comes again and again all over in the future. And this cycle keeps repeating. As shown in this diagram, it is a continuous loop. Refine and improve. Now, where is this actually used? Google Maps predict traffic. Swiggy and Zomato recommends food. Farming uses this for crop predictions as well. And Netflix suggests the movies. So even if you don't realize, you are already surrounded by the topics of data science. Now let's understand our plan. The day 1 and day 2, we will be building the foundation. Day 3 and 4, we build the machine learning engine. And in the 5th day, we will create a dashboard and some complex project complete as well. And by the end of this, you will also have something you can actually show. That is the final output, the final project that you will be deploying. One of the biggest problems students face is the installation. So many errors, setup issues, and dependency problems. So we are eliminating all of them. We will be using zero setup stack. Everything runs in your own browser. So no installation and no confusion as well. Now the question arises, why Python? Because it is very simple, readable language and it is used everywhere. Data science, AI, web development, everywhere. But remember this line. Python is a tool. It is not a subject. You don't need to study it. You just need to use it. Now let us look at quickly about understand what we will be learning today. So the first thing that we are going to learn is about variables which are used for storing the data. The second thing is about the inputs, taking data from the users. The third thing is lists where we store multiple values inside these lists. Then the loops. Loops are nothing but repeating tasks. Then we will be looking at few conditions which are used for decision makings or making some algorithms. And lastly, the functions, which are the reusable logics that are present inside our code. These are like Lego blocks. Once you understand them, you can build anything of your own. And today, we won't just learn theory. we will build a student's mark analyzer as well, where we take inputs, calculate total and average, and decide if the student is passing or failing according to the logics that we are going to implement. You are not there here to just watch. You are here to build some things or build anything that comes in your way. So that's it for today. You will complete two small tasks as well. Find the minimum and maximum from a list and build a simple calculator as well. And tomorrow we will work with real data sets, create graphs, and step into the real role of a data analyst. So if you are feeling a little nervous, that's all okay. If you feel like this is new, that's real perfect. Because today you are standing or starting something important, something new. Now enough of theory. Let's actually start work on the coding part. Open up your browsers and go to Google Colab. Today you are writing your first program. So let's begin. Alright then. Now we move on to the most important part, that is the coding. Now don't worry, just follow these steps along with me. So open up your browser and type Google Colab. First, click on the link and you will see this kind of interface. If you see a blank notebook, that's perfect. If not, click on new notebook and start coding. So this is the coding area that where we are going to perform or write our first program. So let us write the first program. Now, since we are in India, we always start our phone calls by saying the word hello. So the first thing that we are going to do while writing our first program is writing how we saying how we write the words hello. So for that we are going to type here print in brackets. We are going to write in semi double inverted commas hello engineer. Since we all are engineers, I'm going to write here hello engineer. And when I click on this particular button, it is going to run that particular program or the line of code that we have written. And now it is going to connect with our server. So what this Google Colab is? Google Colab is nothing but a playtime engine or Python engine that has been stored in Google servers. So rather than in like writing the code in our laptop, sometimes what happens while we are doing data science, now the code has been executed, it is printing hello engineer. So what happens in real life scenarios while we are doing data engineering or data analysis, sometimes like there is too heavy data sets that we are going to perform on. So sometimes what happens, the CPU or the GPU of our laptops or our computers is not capable enough to handle these big lines of code while doing AI engineering or any kind of this stuffs. So rather than destroying our own system, why don't we just code in the Google's code space? So this is the code space that has been provided by Google, and in this we are going to implement all our Python logic. So the file that is being stored here is going to be in this format, that is .ipynb, and here we are going to introduce all the codes. This particular block, this one is known as a cell. This is known as a cell, and when we want to write something, we are going to use this click text cell, and in this we are going to introduce anything that is in markdown language. So what is markdown language? So I'll write a heading. So every topic has a heading. So I'll be writing this is as day 1 introduction to Python. Okay. So when I click on this, it is going to execute, or when I'm going to add a new cell. So this is the new cell that has been added, day 1 introduction to Python. Now I'll write here in normal text by Sahil 7th. Sorry for the semicolon. Okay, by Sahil 7. So whatever I am going to write here, it is in markdown and it is going to be reflected in the side screen. So this is how we are going to code. If I have to delete any particular cell, I can click on this delete cell option and the cell will get deleted. If I want to take this particular cell above, I'll be clicking on this up arrow. If I have to take this down, I'll be clicking on the down arrow. So this is how this .ipynb or the Google Colab works. So yeah, Congratulations, you have written your first line of code or the first program, that is the Hello Engineer program. And yes, so this is how we are going to execute the cells. Now let's start understanding something which is known as variables. So I'll be creating a markdown, and here I'll be writing in second heading. The heading is variables, and underneath this I'll be starting my new code. So here I'll be assigning few variables. So what are variables? Variables, think of them as they are few containers that store a particular data. For example, if you in your houses, in your homes, you might be having few containers in you which you might be storing some dal, you might be storing some rice. So similarly, the variables are the containers that store a particular type of data. So what kind of data and what kind of containers? So let's take an example of name, and in this name I'll be assigning few strings, that is, let's say name Rahul. So Rahul is the most common name I feel, and I have given the input as Rahul. There might be another kind of container that I might be call it as age. Now many of my viewers might be from like age limits like 18 to let's say 25. So I'll take an average age which is 20, or let's say 21, or let's say 21. And after this I have assigned this container. So this name is a container or the variable, and this Rahul is the data that is being stored in this container. In the second case, age is the container or the variable, and 21 is the data that is being stored. And after that I'll print this whatever it is in this variable. So I'll just be writing print, and in the brackets I'll be writing name, or print, and in brackets I'll be writing age. So the output for this particular thing is going to be, the first line is going to be the name, which is Rahul. So name is the variable, and the variable will be called which is the name Rahul. And in the second case, the variable, we have to print the variable age, and in this case the variable is 21. So it is going to paste us the first one, that is Rahul, and then the age, that is 21. When I click on this particular button, or let's say I press Control and enter, it is going to run the cell and it is going to print us Rahul and 21. So that is the thing that happens, and we are also going to try it. Now the next step that we are going to do is taking the user input. So there are many programs, or you might have seen few applications or few games as well, where user has to input something. So let's say I'll be creating a uh, new subheading which is taking the user inputs, taking the user inputs. And after this I'll be writing a new line of code which is name equals to input, and in brackets I'll be writing some instruction, let's say enter your name and complete. Yeah. And after this I'll be printing the name as well, that is print, and in print I'll be writing welcome, and comma, the variable that we are assigning, that is the name. So welcome is the string that we have been assigning, and name is the this particular variable, and the data stored in it will be the input which will be provided by the user. So when I run this, it will ask us to enter your name. So my name is Sahil, but let's say if my name is Samail is my like the name that I usually use on the internet, and I'll Samael, and I will press enter. On clicking enter, I'll get welcome Samail. I'll get the terms welcome and then Samay. So this is how the program takes in the input from the users. Now, I also want you guys to type your name and see if there is any output which comes on your screen. If it comes, it's well and good. If not, check the code again and start executing. Now moving on, suppose you have multiple values. multiple values like as in marks or anything as such. So let's say you have few sets of marks you have got in your exams, let's say history, geography, maths, civics, वगैरह, and you want to like input all those marks or take or print all those marks. So we will be doing that kind of thing right now. So this is how the things are stored in something called as lists. So we'll be inputting new subheading, that is lists. We'll be taking down of list. So this is not code. This is a markdown that we want to perform, that is in text, and that is the lists. Now we will be starting for typing the lists. So I'll take this marks, let's suppose, and I'll take a square bracket, and in square bracket I'll be entering few marks like 70, 80, let's say 75, then 90, okay, and let's say 60 as well, okay. And this is how we assign the lists, multiple values that are stored inside a particular variable. And now I'll be printing the marks as well, print, and in round brackets I'll be writing the variable, that is the marks. When I click on control and enter, it will execute, and on execution we will get this kind of thing, that is the data that was stored in this variable of marks, that is 70, 80, 75, 90 and 60, as we have written here. If I change this, let's say instead of 90 I write, let's say 95, or let's say 93, okay, let's take a odd number, and when I click on control enter, it is going to update it with 93. So that's how the lists are performed. Now let's say I want to take a particular number which lies in the first element, which is the first element in this particular data, which is 70. So what we will do is we will change this code and write here print, and inside brackets I'll write marks, and in marks I'll be taking this square brackets and I'll be taking 0. So this is the index, this is the index. So this is the data, this is the data that is being stored in the list, and the index of this first number is always going to be 0, the second number is 1, the third is 3, and so on. So when I click on control enter, it is going to give me the index of the first number, which is the index 0, and the index 0 is assigned to number 70. So that is the reason why I get here 70. Now let us check what happens when we take this index as marks and 1. Okay, when I click on control and enter, it will execute again, and it will give us the number 80, which is the second element of this particular list. So that's how we perform the operations on the lists. Now we will move on to look what happens in the loops. So I'll take a new text and I'll be writing here subheading of loops. And inside loops, I'll be taking a code cell. And in here, I'll write for I in range of, let's say, 5. And I'll be print in brackets, I'll be writing I. So this loop will run for 5 times. Instead of writing print and print again, this loop will run for 5 times and it will give us the numbers. So let's say I enter here, control and enter. So, okay, the thing is not specified here, which is, so this is the like, and yes, it is going to give me the first 5 digits, that is ranging from 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 0 is the first index, or the first element. It is succeeded by the digit 1, which is the second number, then 2, which is the third number, 3, which is the fourth number, and 4, which is the fifth number. So we get here the 5 digits in maths. So this loop runs 5 times, and instead of writing print and print and print and print again for 5 different times, I'll just create this thing and I'll write this print I in range 5. So it will go from 0 to 4 and it will be running for 5 times. and it will terminate on the sixth execution. Instead of writing 5, it will just terminate it. Now moving on, for engagement purpose, change this to 5 from 5 to 10 and then try running it again. So that is a homework for you. Now moving on to the next concept, which is about conditions. So I'll write this subheading as conditions, and I'll input a new code cell. Now for conditions, let's take if marks marks equals 85. If I have this particular marks, if I have taken my marks as 85, and I'll be writing here as if marks are greater than 40, print, and I'll have to print pass. And if I have marks less than 40, that is, I'll just input else statement, else, and else print, I have to print fail. So since I have marks as 85, which is greater than 40, so instead of this marks, it will take this value as 85. Since 85 is greater than 40, it is going to print me pass. Else means if the marks are lesser than or equal to 40, it will print fail. So let us run this particular command and let's see what the answers we are getting. We are getting the term as pass. So I have passed my examination if I am getting 85 marks. If I say I have got 35 marks, so when I rerun this particular program, I'll be getting fail. So it performs this operation in such a case, if the condition is true, it runs the first statement, and else something else is the input. So that is the thing that we have done here. Now moving on to the next concept, let us take this as functions. So I'll be explaining functions. Sorry for the W, and I'll be adding a new code cell. So function, what are the functions? So functions are something that we use over and over again. So it is a reusable part of the code. So for defining a function, we use this keyword which is known as def. So def means defining a particular function in Python. So we'll be writing def, and I'll be greeting you. So GREET, greet, and then the name, and yes, and in this I'll be writing print, and in print I'll be writing hello, and comma the name that I'll be providing. And after this I'll just say it as greet. Now this greet will fetch this particular function which is greet. We have defined this function, and greet in brackets I'll be writing my name, that is greet. Let's say I'll take my name as Jack. Okay, I'll take my name as Jack. So it will be running this code greet, and then instead of name, it will take this particular variable which is Jack. So the name here will take this variable Jack, and it will add it, instead of here it will be adding it as name here, and it is going to print me hello and the name that I have been defined, which is the term as Jack. And this function can be used over and over again as well. So here I write, so I'll have to execute this. So hello Jack, hello, it will first print hello and it will print Jack. So after this, if I add 8 plus 10, and then I again write greet, and inside brackets I'll write any other name, let's say Samael again, or okay, rather than Samael I'll take another name, and control and enter. It is going to give us this hello Jack, and the next which is hello Oriel. So this line is going to be ignored because it does not have any anything assisted with it. So it is going to ignore it, and it is going to give us the next thing which is greet and then Oriel. So yeah, that was everything about greetings, or that was everything about the functions. Then we learned about what are the conditions, we learned what are the loops, the lists, user inputs, the variables, and starting from this first, which was greeting hello engineer. So these are few small things that we have learned in our first class, and congrats, you have built your first basic understanding about Python and how it is going to be used in the upcoming project or upcoming session that we are going to perform. So now let's build something real. So in the first case, in the first previous, while we were doing about PPTs, I asked you or told you that we will be building a marks analyzer. So let's start building this particular project, mini project, which is about marks analyzer. So yeah, let's get on with it. And I will be adding a text here. And in this, I'll be taking a heading that is mini project, mini project. And in this, I'll be adding a subheading, which is marks analyzer, marks analyzer. And yeah, as you can see here, as you can see, the second heading is like the size of second heading is little bit smaller than the first heading, that is the mini project title. And in this we will be starting to write our code. That is, first of all, we will be inputting few the variables inside the lists, that is the marks first of all. So marks equals, in square bracket I'll be writing the marks as well, 70, then 80, then let's say 85, then let's say I'll take 40 as well, and let's say I'll take 60, I'll take 35. Okay, these are few ranges of marks that I have specified. And after that I'll define something which is total. Now this total is another variable that I have defined, and total will be sum of all these marks. So instead of just adding 70, 80, 85, 40, I'll just add a keyword which is sum, which is going to add all of these. And in this sum function, which is the sum function, in this I'll be adding the variable of marks. So the sum function is going to fetch all these marks, 70, 80, 85 and so on. And it is going to add this and store this sum inside the variable that is the total. And then I'll also be adding AVG to define average, which will be total divided by length of marks. Okay, so there are these two terms. The first one is sum and the other one is length. So these are few predefined functions in Python. So sum, when we write this sum function, it is going to add up all the marks. And when I write this length, so len, this stands for length. And when I am going to write this function length, it is going to find the length of this particular list that I have given you here. So the length of this list is the first index, the second index, the third index, then fourth index, fifth and sixth. So length is 6. So it is going to add up all these marks and then it is going to divide by 6. So let's see what this does in the next part. And we will also write some function. If the average is greater than 40, print pass. If the average is less than 40, we will print fail. So we'll write that block of code as well. If average is greater than 40, print pass. You have passed the exam. Congratulations. Celebrations. Else we'll be writing print and in round brackets we'll be writing fail, fail, fail. Okay, so what we have done here is, first of all, it calculates the sum and stores in the variable of total. Then length gives the length of the values, and total of all these terms divided by length of the values is going to give us the average. So we have defined here the mathematical function of average as well. And lastly, it is going to compare this average. If it is greater than 40, the student is passed. If it is less than 40, the student is failed. Now we will run this and we can see here it says pass. So we will also print here print, and in print we will ask it to print our average as well. We will ask it to print our average as well. When I click on control enter, it is going to print as the average, which is 61.666. So this is almost 62%. And congrats, the student has been passed. So yeah, this is how the maths behind the score analyzer works. Now let's improve it as well. So now for improvisation, I'll take another block of code and I'll just take marks and I'll take it as empty cell, empty list, and for I in range that is 5, I'll take range 5 and I'll define a variable m, which is int. So int is a keyword, or int is the keyword which is defined for the type of data structure. So since I am entering numbers, so numbers are always going to be in integers. So int is nothing but it is used to define the integers. So whatever input I am taking, I'll be taking it in integer values. If it is non-integer value, it won't take it. So int, and inside int I'll be writing input, 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 enter marks. Okay, enter marks, and after this I'll be appending in it in the particular that marks table. So marks dot append, and in bracket I'll be writing the inputs that are going to be specified in m variable. So this is going to add the marks that we are going to enter in this particular variable, in which here we will get all these results like 70, 80, 85 and all those. So yeah, and after this we will be taking it as total. First of all, we will be taking the total, which is sum of these marks, and after that we will be also calculating the average, which is total divided by the length of marks. Okay, and after that I'll be printing the total as well, the average as well. Print, first of all, print the total, and I'll be adding the variable total, and after this print, and inside print I'll be writing average, average, and comma avg, the variable, this variable, particular variable. And after this, okay, we will just run this. First of all, control and enter. So first of all, it is asking us to enter the marks, so I'll be entering few marks. Let's say 70 first of all, then another kind of marks, so let's say 50 in the second, let's say 12 in the third exam, then 60 in the fourth exam, and let's say 20 in the last exam. So these are 5 different subjects for which the marks I am entering. So since this particular thing will be running for 5 different times, since we have been specified here 5. Okay, this is the last test that we will be executing, and enter. So it will print as the total. So adding all these terms 70, 50, 12, 60 and 20, it is going to give us 212, and 212 divided by the length. So length was 5. 212 divided by 5 is 42.4. So average that I have been getting is 42.4 marks. Okay, so this is how this particular program is going to run. Now let us just modify it using the loops as well. So I'll write here again if, so I'll just copy it from the upper one. I'll be copying this particular lines of code, and I'll just be printing them here. And yeah, instead of this average, since we have calculated the average already, I'll be removing that part of code, and I'll just need control enter. So first of all, the marks, let's say I am not a good learner, I don't know anything, and I have scored, let's say 12 marks in the first, let's say 32 marks in second, in the third I have scored, let's say 40, in fourth exam I have scored, let's say, 18. In the fifth exam, let's say I have scored 16. So as you can see, all these marks are less than what are required to get average above 40. So adding all of this will be giving us average which will be lower than 40. So when I all 12, 32, 40, 18 and 16, we will get the total as 118. And 118 divided by 5, it is going to give us 23.6, which is less than 40. So my prediction is that I have failed the exam. So now this is dynamic where the user, so basically the purpose of this code was where the user enters his marks. The marks are stored in this particular variable in form of lists. Okay, in the marks section. We'll be calculating the total of the marks, we'll be calculating the average of the marks, and according to the loop, it is going to tell us whether we have passed the examination or we have failed the examination. So these are few different things that we have learned in today's lecture. So run this, enter your marks and tell me what you have been getting, if it is passed or failed or anything different. So nothing different is going to come out of it since we have defined both the cases. So some of you might get errors. So that's completely normal since you are coding it for the first time, and error means that you are learning something out of it. And look at what you just did. We took input of the data, we stored the data, we used loops on it, we applied few conditions, and we also built a particular logic for it. So now guys, this is what is programming. Today you didn't just watch, you build it yourselves. So now future tasks for you. I'm going to define these future tasks for you as well. So task in heading section, tasks. So I'm going to define you a few tasks. The first task is going to find the maximum and the minimum marks from the list of marks. And second task that you guys have to do is build a calculator using two numbers, where you will be adding two numbers, subtracting two numbers, multiplying two numbers and dividing the numbers. And you have to take the two user inputs, add those numbers, subtract, divide and multiply and get the answer. So that's where the things are getting interesting, and since that things are getting interesting, we'll be seeing you again in the next video, that is the day 2's video, the second video, in which we will be performing few advanced functions. We will be writing few codes again, and yeah, stay tuned to my lectures, this workshop. If you haven't watched who am I and what we are going to do in this particular playlist, you can revisit the first video, that is the day 0 video, and you will be getting to know what we will be doing in the day 2, 3, 4 and 5 again. If you like this video, press that like button, share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. On this channel, I'll be showing or giving you all the information about the physics related videos, the engineering stuffs. So I have arranged few playlists in which I have covered microcontrollers, microprocessors. Then there are signal systems for electronics and telecommunication or electrical guys as well. And I'll be giving you few computer science related videos as well. I have few videos on physics, my projects that I had done in my bachelor's, and there are a few other things, other videos as well as that you guys can watch. Definitely check them out, tell me, answer your doubts in comments. If you have any doubts, put them in this comments and I'll be replying to you as fast as I can. I don't usually miss any comments that my viewers have presented to me. And that's it for today, guys. Have a good day, enjoy your day, and keep learning, keep watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.